Welcome back to Footballology. Up next, I have the Baltimore Ravens for their draft grade, which is my final draft grade for the 2019 season. I'm so happy to be finished with these things. It took way longer than I expected to. But, anyways, we fast forward to the Baltimore Ravens and we look at their 2018 season. When you think about everything that they went through last year, they kind of stumbled upon some offense with Lamar Jackson and Gus Edwards and just how they were running the ball towards the end. They were a limited passing team, but they were running the ball extremely effective, and then they were playing extremely good defense. So, pretty much that's in my opinion, that's the perfect formula to win a championship. Run the ball with high efficiency and play effective defense, and you should be able to win some ball games. Which down the stretch they were able to win some ball games, and they're a really dangerous team. A lot of teams didn't want to see them because of the way they were able to run the ball and chew clock. But then by the time you got on the field offensively, their defense was so good and so stingy that they would just take the ball right away and then right back to chewing the clock. So then you fast forward to the playoffs and everything that happened in the playoffs. I think they met up against a team in the Chargers that they just wasn't prepared for. The Chargers actually contested with them and challenged them on levels that they wasn't ready for. And they challenged Lamar Jackson and forced Lamar Jackson to actually play football and, be a NFL quarterback. I don't think he was ready for that personally. I think that they were kind of, slowly, trickling them into the offense and trying to figure out what they were offensively and just that was it, honestly. And then they just ran into the Chargers, and they just couldn't handle the Chargers. Lamar Jackson wasn't ready. So you think going into this season, or at least going into this offseason, they want to give him some more offensive weapons, some guys that he can lean on, and things like that. So I can definitely see this offense being a lot better than it was last year, and probably being a lot balanced than they were last year. So the Baltimore Ravens' best pick, in my personal opinion, was Jalen Ferguson. You think of everything that he's going to bring to the table as far as being a power edge rusher, a guy that can set a strong edge, but then at the same time get up the field and with a decent amount of quickness. I don't think he's like over athleticism. Like his athleticism isn't gaudy, but I think as a football player, he's going to be really good and really true. You think about what they've done, like as far as losing Terrell Suggs, they lost Zadarius Smith as well. So they bring in a guy like Jalen Ferguson to at least compete for an edge rusher spot, and I think that he can win it and not only win the job, but definitely be effective at the job. I'm excited to see what he's gonna do as far as like holding the edge down, helping in the run game, and just improving this overall Baltimore defense that you think about that doesn't really need an improvement, but I think that they've gotten younger and faster and probably a lot better with bringing in a guy like Ferguson. Now, in my personal opinion, the Baltimore Ravens' worst pick was Marquis Brown. Now, when you bring him in and what he's going to be able to do, as far as taking the top off of defense, I get that. I really do. But look, think of it this way. Tyreek Hill is like the cover girl or the supermodel of small receivers or smaller receivers. And so a lot of teams go out and they try to go find them a Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill is a different kind of player. And I made a video about his suspension and anything, but I'll go into detail as far as how he's a different type of player at his size and stature. Now, you think about what Tyreek Hill can do is taking the top off the defense and all that. I think Baltimore Ravens want to go get a guy like Brown that can definitely stretch the field, which makes sense. I really do get it. They want a guy like him that can stretch the field. He has short hands. He's a good receiver. But I think with his size and stature, I'm not sure if he's going to last. Like, I really am not sure if he's going to be able to hold up in the AFC North or just in the NFL in general. I mean, you're talking about, like, deep balls, post, and that's it. Like, are you gonna be able to run some slants, or am I even gonna be threatened by you running a sluggo, like a slant go? Like, am I gonna be threatened by that? No, because I think that your route tree is definitely limited because of your stature, and so I just don't like them. And the reason why I don't like them taking him, like if they took him in the second round or even in the third round, I wouldn't have cared. But you wasted your fifth year option on a receiver that we're not even sure that's gonna be able to last 2 to 3 years. I know who his cousin is. I get all that. I really do. And I know I'm pretty sure I'm going to get lit up in the comment section about this. But I just don't see him being a legit receiver for Baltimore, especially having a quarterback like Lamar Jackson who's still trying to come into his own and find his accuracy and things like that. I just don't see Brown being a legit wide receiver and being consistent at that. Now, the pick that the Baltimore Ravens made that I liked the most was Myles Boykin. And, he's 6'4", dude runs like a 4.4. He can jump with the best. He can do everything. He's that number one, the prototypical, if you will, receiver. And I think he's the best receiver fit for a guy like Lamar Jackson. If you guys remember a couple of years back when Carolina was on this, get this big receiver, we know Cam Newton accuracy isn't up to par. So we're going to go out and get some big towers and big receivers. So one year they draft Calvin Benjamin. Then the next year they get Devin Funchess. You already got Greg Olsen at tight end. So we just got towers out there. And it's going to be hard for you to overthrow these guys. It's definitely going to help you build your confidence and things like that. I think that Myles Boykin can help out Lamar Jackson in that manner. I think he can be a receiver that is have a big catch radius, and then definitely Lamar Jackson. Like you go back and watch some of Lamar Jackson throws, and they're just like that far away. And it wasn't just like his accuracy was bad. We get that, but it was just that some of the receivers he was throwing it to, like John Brown last year, and he was just kind of out throwing John Brown as far as that. If you get a guy like Myles Boykin, it's gonna be hard because his catch radius is just so wide, and I think that he's gonna be a legit receiver for them. And he possibly could start for them, like maybe possible number one. I'm not sure how they feel about Brown and what Brown is going to bring to the table exactly. And then they got other receivers on the roster as well. But I feel like Myles Boykin is going to be that dude. I feel like he's going to be eventually going to be that go-to receiver for Lamar Jackson down the road. So with all that being said, the worst thing about this draft class, in my personal opinion, was the fact that they didn't really get a safety. Now, I know they got Earl Thomas and I know they got Trayvon Young there, but I just feel like they needed a little bit more depth there. I looked over their roster. I didn't feel comfortable with what they had behind those two guys and what those two guys, like, if those two guys go down, what are you going to do at that point? But I know I regress. It's the Baltimore Ravens. And pretty much anything that I say about the Baltimore Ravens, you guys can take with a grain of salt, because I feel like Baltimore Ravens are one of those teams on that scale where I just can't really touch what they do. Like, what they do is what they do, and they know what they're doing. They're the best at what they do. It's just, that's how I feel. The Patriots, the Steelers, and the Baltimore Ravens. Those are three teams I hate touching, but I do it anyways. But I feel like they deserve to be. Overall, when you think about Jalen Ferguson replacing Terrell Suggs, or possibly replacing Terrell Suggs, that's a lot of production, and that's a lot of elite play, in my opinion. You get Myles Boykin in the third round as well. You get a guy like Amon Marshall that I'm really high on as far as the cornerback position. So that's going to be exciting to watch him progress and how he's going to develop there. And they got a couple other late round guys. I think they had a better late round draft than they had early round draft. I know they only had the 1-1 and then they didn't have a 2. But the third round and down, I feel like they killed it. Like, I didn't feel like the Brown pick was there. Like, that Brown pick just didn't sit right with me. But a lot of the other players that got in the late parts of the draft made so much more sense and helped replenish their draft or help replenish their roster and definitely bring some depth to the roster. I just wish they kind of would have attacked the safety position with getting somebody in there that can just compete. I'm not saying start because you got two good starters there, but just somebody that can compete and things like that. Even Trace McSorley, I'm excited to see what they're going to do with him. I feel like they're going to get very gadgety with him, and it's going to be excited to watch what he's going to do, especially you've seen Sean Payton this past year with what he did with his backup quarterback and all those little gadgets and things like they did with there. I think that we can see Baltimore starting to head that direction, especially with a guy like Trace McSorley sitting on the bench. So I wouldn't be surprised if every Sunday they dress 3 quarterbacks. So that's all I have for you Ravens fans. I really hope you guys like this video. If you do, give it a big thumbs up. And if you guys are not subscribed to the YouTube channel, go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel so they become a footballologist. And stay safe, football fans.